Hi everyone, we're back, episode 2. We have at this point we have recorded another episode that we still haven't published. So if you're watching this, that means you, I guess, get 2 episodes back to back. I guess if we ever publish the first one. Anyways, I'm Lana.
That's the
It is the intent. We will do it.
hmm
I'm Lana, and this is our podcast. We have a name now, and it's
noise complaint.
That's right. That's right. And this is
Yeah.
my lovely co host, Nikki. And we have a lot we want to talk about today, as we always do, actually.
Yeah, we talk a lot, but sometimes it's about nothing. Literally nothing. Or does he happen? But there has been a lot going on in the last week, 2 weeks since we really last spoke. Um, First and foremost, we received the news that Lindsey Graham has died.
Praise the fucking roof.
Um, Yes. So also we have an unknown condition, or we have no information about Mitch McConnell's condition. So it's unknown. Lots of speculation going on. We'll see um, when exactly they decide to tell us that he died. So, because here's the deal, he's been a walking corpse for years. So the fact that they're not telling us what is going on with him leads me to believe it's irreversible, whatever it is.
I agree. Because he was having like those series of strokes, like
Yeah.
on air. Just you could see there's nothing behind the eyes. So I agree. I think the fact that they're keeping it hush hush. I mean, shoot, we didn't know anything about Lindsey Graham until it dead. So yeah, I think they're keeping it hush hush until he's, I don't know, ready for the grave, I guess. I'm not sure. But we got 2. I'm waiting for a third at this
Yep.
point.
Well, it's interesting because Lindsey Graham was just at Disney like 2 or 3 weeks ago. Um, it was during a time in which something important was going on, and his presence should have been elsewhere, but he was at Disney. Um, and people really were upset about that. Like, what is he
Maybe
doing at Disney by himself? Uh,
Make a
you're
wish.
70 years old. Yeah, make a wish. Absolutely. I mean, maybe he knew. He knew his time was coming.
Honestly, he's been on borrowed time, in my opinion. So
Yeah. That's why he's been wilding out lately.
yeah,
Just living his best life. Uh, but getting into um, topics that we know more information about, there's been quite a lot going on with. They've published Trump's earnings for the last year. He has earned quite a bit of money, as we've seen within this presidency. A little over $2 billion total, which is interesting because everyone likes to tout about the fact that he doesn't take a salary. But we are seeing the ultimate grift right before our eyes. And here, let's get into that just a little bit. So, Trump has leveraged his position to make a cryptocurrency, which he has profited $1.4 billion from. Um, Meanwhile, his investors, there was over 1 million investors that lost a total of $3.81 billion. Tell me how so many people can lose money while he gains.
I, I, part of me almost wonders if, because of his position, if he was able to leverage that, if it went south, he would still come out on top, potentially
Yeah.
taking. I don't know anything about investing in that situation, but I just how it makes no sense to me.
Yeah. It's almost like it's intentional. That's how I see it. Um, but this is the president that is here for the people, don't you know, Lana? He's here, America first, all that BS. He's here for it. So I think it's interesting that, and this is a little bit out of my wheelhouse, but reading about the Genius Act that passed last year basically allows cryptocurrency companies to operate outside of the guidance of the SEC and the the CFTC. Therefore, there's just minimal oversight, and it's the Wild West of doing whatever the hell you want to do under any means necessary to make money. So,
It's interesting. I know that there's been so much push to legitimize cryptocurrencies, and there's certainly regulations that they have to follow through the Bank Secrecy Act. However, it's just so wild to me that a president would be allowed to invest in this manner in like a currency, essentially, like the conflict of interest. It's so insane that he's not led away in handcuffs every single day, truthfully.
yep. That's going to be a common theme that we seem to discuss today is conflict of interest. It's so obvious at this point, yet there's so many people that want to ignore it. Listen, this stuff is not as complicated as what they want us to believe. um, Another thing that I made note of is that Melania profited $6 million off of NFTs. And I would just like to know who's still making money on NFTs because that was a Biden administration thing, okay? Like, we were
And
doing that in
who's
2022.
and who is still making NFTs? So what? She just created some and sold them, I guess.
I suppose. I just saw
Wow.
that she made that much money. And so now I'm
Wow.
curious, what do they look like? What are they? That's gonna be a
A deep
fun
dive
deep
we can
dive.
figure out. I'm in
Yeah,
my mind, I'm thinking it's like something in Roblox. I don't know why.
definitely. Definitely.
uh,
Very simplistic for sure. It's probably low effort and low budget, maximum
yeah.
gain.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
I would like to see because those things are held almost as like art in a way. So I'd like to
Yeah.
see what their worth is in a year or two, five, and what people are doing with them.
And I think that's why conspiracy theory, but when you're making money off of something like that, in my opinion, it begs the question if it's actually money laundering because art is one of those, I think, tricky assets to follow the money trail on. I know there is a lot of regulations with it, but I think it's one of those things because you can say this pillow is worth $5 million because it's art, and then in actuality, there's money that's underhanded, you
Mm-hmm.
know. But again, not a professional. I'd be curious to look into like what they actually look like and what they are and why they are valued at that high amount. It's just I don't know.
Well, then to be continued. We'll have to follow up on that and get more info. But when you said, it raises a question about money laundering. It kind of reminded me, as far as art goes, didn't they have a big fit about Hunter Biden and his laptop and some art sales?
Yeah,
Yeah. And mind you, wasn't his profit $4 million? So here we are, already over that profit. Nobody's raising a fit about that, and it's
yeah.
okay with what they're doing. Um, the hypocrisy is so real
They just
and
hate.
obvious,
They hate Hunter for his riz. I think.
honestly. He's out here going on Candace Owens. He's like doing a world tour right now.
Yeah, he's had like a comeback. I keep seeing people talking about him like super favorably, thinking like he's like a playboy and stuff. It's interesting.
Well, he went to rehab. So,
There you have
and
it.
now he's back out in the streets, you know? So, um, let's see. The other thing, that it wasn't necessarily, well, I guess it was an investment and he profited off of this.
Mm.
Um, and we'll kind of go back to this too, but one thing that was listed in his investments is that I think it was just within a couple of weeks of him taking office, he invested in the GEO Group or the GEO Group, which is
Mm.
a private prison company.
Oh,
And they are one of the largest contractors for ICE. And so, oh, yes, just 10 days after he took office. So it basically, his disclosures, they show that his accounts made purchases of the prison company, and then afterwards the number of immigrant detainees swelled from 35,000 to 70,000, and the number of purchases increased with a total ranging from 143,000 to $445,000. So what this is telling me is he has a vested interest in detaining as many people as possible, and has the power to implement ICE to do whatever they want by any means necessary to get these detainees. And as we've seen them building many of these ICE detention centers across the country, um, and they're just making a bunch of money. These contractors are making a bunch of money. These contractors are also investing in his campaign, so this money is going in circles, so these people can just continue to profit off of other people's lives
Yeah.
and dignity.
Yeah. Wow.
Um, yeah.
That, you know, what's interesting about that, going back into this conspiracy, and it's not really, I think it's all the evidence is there because the first day back in office, Trump signed an executive order to attack birthright citizenship, which would then also, had it been successful, allowed for even more detainees for these ICE concentration camps. So that's something I've been having my eye on this summer. Was that executive order eventually did make it up the ranks of the Supreme Court because it called into question one of our rights here in this country is the fact if you're born here, you are a citizen. Sorry about it. It's in the Constitution. And they finally ruled in the day that they were ruling. I knew it was happening and I almost could not watch the news because I was so freaked out, especially after the overturning of Roe v. Wade and other of these like landmark cases that are just getting slaughtered by the Supreme Court. I was really afraid, and both sides of my family immigrants, and most people here are, and so it's just makes no sense. But attacking and weakening the Constitution seems to be a big push for Trump and his base. So thank whatever God is out there, if there is one, remains to be seen. It did not pass, and the Supreme Court struck it down, the executive order to limit birthright citizenship. And it was really interesting, however, because the opinions that were given specifically by Kavanaugh almost gave Congress a playbook to try to take another stab at undermining birthright citizenship. He said that basically, if Congress were to amend or otherwise enact a statute creating new exceptions along the lines of the executive order that Trump had created, that maybe it would pass constitutional muster, which is very concerning because then a couple days, I think it was either a couple days ago or a couple days after the ruling on birthright citizenship, a House representative, McGuire, introduced an act to codify Trump's executive order to try to again go after birthright citizenship. They just, I mean, I think, of course, a lot of this is hatred, and the anti-immigration policy is also born out of racism as well. But I also do agree that there's money to be made in detaining people that they think shouldn't be here for whatever reason. Prison has always been a big money corporate venture in a lot of ways. And it's also, unfortunately, in the Constitution, a way to essentially have slave labor still exist. And it's sick, basically, but I'm still happy that birthright citizenship stays in effect as of now. I think they'll continue to try to undermine it. But I'm going to tie it back to the World Cup because I am wearing my jersey today for Mexico. It's a sad day because they unfortunately did lose to England. I'm still bitter about it, but they played their hearts out. And I've been thinking about the World Cup a lot because it's based in the city that I live in. And so many of the players, even on our team, hold dual citizenship in general or come from families that were immigrants. And it's like, this is what makes this country in the first place. And it's been fascinating kind of seeing it from that angle. And for the most part, I keep hearing more and more positive experiences that people are having coming to America because of the World Cup. There's this clip of this man from Germany who's like literally crying basically about his experience here and the fact that he'd been told that this country is like dangerous and scary and that he should be careful. And his experience was very different. However, this being said, this is still the United States of America. And we still have a massive problem with racism. I mean, it's how this country was born, essentially. And one of the biggest streamers, I Show Speed, was called racist slurs and had racist chants directed at him at one of the World Cup games by a person wearing an Argentina jersey, by the way, which pretty much not surprised by that. But that was, to me, it was such a fucking letdown because I keep hearing of all these really positive experiences, and yet we're still seeing every day the way that people just want to choose hatred. And yeah, it's fucked.
I also saw this. Somebody made a really good point that they said Argentina is, I think, maybe the only team in the World Cup who does not have a single black player on their team. And
Wow.
it went back into, they tied it back into the fact that Argentina's done, and this is not a really informed opinion of mine, so don't, if I'm wrong on this, I apologize, but they basically, their government has done a lot to wash away black people from their society. So they've like appropriated their culture, but basically forced them to leave. Um,
And
and if that's seen this racism from them, and I'm sure they feel emboldened in this country to freely speak that, especially because we just had a neo-Nazis march on our capital with zero punishment. Or maybe, and I understand they could say that's protected under the First Amendment, that they have a freedom of speech, but the fact that nobody condemned them either from this administration standpoint, it emboldens people to continue that behavior. So regardless of what country they're from, we still have a role that we're playing in this.
yeah, and just so nobody forgets, Argentina harbored Nazis after World War II. And a lot of that sentiment, I think, is probably still prevalent in their society. I mean, even from me having Mexican heritage, I have always known that Argentina is kind of seen as a bit snooty. But of course, I'm making generalizations. My understanding is that the racism is a big problem there as well. So it's super disappointing to see. And honestly, in my own personal experience since the 4th of July, white people, racist white people specifically, are wilding out. I have had so many experiences back to back to back of just like really weird, microaggressive, like racist behavior. And it's scary. I think, again, racism has always been here in this country, but it absolutely is feeling exceptionally worse under this administration.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
It was that way under the first administration, and it's only going to get worse under the second. It has been, and it'll continue to be. And if they're, going back to this financial, report that we're talking about, if their intent is not obvious enough, like there's proof of what they're doing, they're admitting to what they're doing. So, for instance, I mean, when we talked about the conflict of interest aspect of this, they're admitting to insider trading. I mean, Trump did an interview with CNBC, and he was quoted saying and talking about his kids, anything they do, because the presidency is so powerful, if they buy a cupcake company, well, the energy to make the cupcake is, sort of like, how's my energy policy, Trump said during the interview. The president then added, almost anything they do, if they want to buy a truck, if they buy an energy efficient truck, they have insider information. So he's stating they are using their insider knowledge to profit. And so what my point is that they don't need to specifically state what they're doing to know their intent. It's obvious enough, and now they're emboldened enough to just state what they're doing. They're committing fraud at every turn. They are emboldening racist behavior at every turn, and they're manipulating hate. Manipulating hate, that doesn't
Like
did I
manufacturing it.
yeah,
Pretty much,
manufacturing
yeah.
hate, yeah. So I'm like, we just need to take notice of this and take it for what it is. We don't need to explain away his behavior, their behavior.
Yeah.
This is what it is. And it's been on record the harm that he's caused the Black community, especially, yet stating that he's for them when there's anything but to prove that. I want to say people want to talk about, oh, he had money donated to the HBCUs. What, like $2 million? That's nothing. That's nothing.
Right. And
And
that,
don't I say
sorry.
don't quote me on the number. I could be
Yeah.
off base, but it's something not substantial. So,
Yeah.
um, the last thing too that I found interesting about something that occurred this last week or 2 weeks was that the Democrats are now saying that Trump may have committed wire fraud. Um,
Oh.
this whole America 250. We had the UFC fight. We had this what do you want to call it? Carnival on the lawn.
Yeah.
So they're stating that they were basically trying to raise funds for America 250, and there were donors who did contribute, but the banking, like the routing and account information that they were given for America 250, was actually for an organization called Freedom 250. And Freedom 250, it's a private but public organization. It's not a governmental organization. Um, but it's basically touted to be a vessel for Christian nationalists, partisan and Trump-centered vision of American identity. So they were diverting funds to this group.
Wow. And will anything happen? You
No,
know,
I think people keep saying midterms, midterms, midterms because they want the numbers, but I even doubt then that anything's going to happen. Um,
I'm worried about that, especially because there's so much intimidation done already against voters and just completely stripping the rights of Black, Indigenous, and other people of colors, like voting rights, essentially making it harder and harder, and explaining it away as like, oh, we just don't want to have like mail voter fraud or
mhm.
silly things. And I have been wondering what midterm elections are going to be like and how safe people are going to feel showing up at the polls at all. I know even for myself and my dad, we have had our passports on us ever since ICE activity like really ramped up. And on one hand, like it's a privilege that I can prove my citizenship, but it also, I mean, there's still Americans that are being detained. But I'm still like, for those that can vote legally but are maybe too afraid to get out of the house and do so because of increased ICE activity, etc. It's ramping up again recently, and I'm worried about what the midterms might bring.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think too, there was the election committee that I believe that was recently gutted. I think 3 out of the 4 members were fired by Trump or his administration. So what does that tell you? I mean,
Yeah.
they're scared and they're taking every measure possible to make sure it goes in their favor.
Gotta love it.
Yeah. Um, the other thing, and I don't know if you mentioned it, but the Save Act that they keep trying to get to pass. I mean, that's also another way that they are trying to take away our right to vote. It really impacts
Yeah.
women and it impacts poor people because it's expensive to get a passport. It's expensive to get certain documentation that they're required. Also, if you've ever changed your last name, married women,
Mm-hmm.
um, I'm sorry, but they keep this ideology that, oh, one man should vote for the household, that's permeating through like these Christian nationalist groups. It's really terrifying because if men could vote for the household correctly or correctly um, consider or care for their wife or children's opinion, then we would not have been in a situation where women needed to vote 100
Right.
years ago. Like
Yeah.
this wouldn't have been a thing. I remember visiting the women's suffrage memorial. It was in Knoxville, Tennessee. Honestly, it wasn't very big, but the impact on me was huge because, um, I mean, it just made you remember what women had to go through to
Mm-hmm.
have a right to vote.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, not just women, but people of color to have their rights and then to further their rights to be able to vote. Um, we have to keep pushing. We have to keep remembering what they're trying to do because other people before us have worked too hard for us to have these rights.
1,000%. We stand on the shoulders of giants who have paved the way for us to have that. And it's still, even with the right to vote, the ways in which many administrations, even before this one, have tried and in some cases succeeded in stripping access to voting, poll tax, stupid, ridiculous like literacy tests. I mean, largely focused on Black voters specifically, but it goes beyond that of trying to keep people from expressing their desires for a nation that they have every right to participate in and be a part of that civic conversation of what they want for their communities. And it's so important that we take the rights that we have and use them for good because they're going to continue to come after them. The SAVE Act is really interesting to me because I remember just sending this TikTok to you, and it was like women are not naturally submissive in any sense of the word, because if we were, we wouldn't have had to fight this hard and this long, and we'll have to continue to fight for our rights. If we were naturally submissive, we would have just said, okay, I don't need to vote, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, we have to continue to keep our foot on the gas with
Yeah.
this.
It makes me think of too in any sort of like animal society, it's always the mama bear or the lioness that is feared. They're the ones standing up for those that they love, and they're not submissive in any way.
Yeah.
So, if we take it down to like the simplest fact, that's just how it is. We're not submissive by nature, regardless of what they want you to believe, whatever religion wants you to believe that that's not true. Um,
Yeah.
I think submissive is, I just think it's, to me, there's such a negative connotation with that. I think if you're in a relationship, you can be considerate of somebody else, but you don't have to submit to their wishes or their needs.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's
I,
let's get past that by now. Like, can we be like, seriously?
I know. I read this quote, not sure who the author of it is, but they said that creators do not submit to their creations.
Mm,
And I snaps.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think they fear us. They do. They fear us, and that's why they're trying to um, oppress us.
Agreed.
And I do feel like to not, you know, as a woman, um, you feel oppression,
Mm-hmm.
but then like I can only imagine what that oppression feels like as a person of color,
Mm-hmm.
and so I just, you know, I feel like it's important for us to recognize us being, you know, white people, like recognize how much further that oppression goes and do what you can to be a voice for the people whose opinion is just not heard, whose voice is just not heard in our society. Um, you know, I never thought in my lifetime that we would have to be concerned about my friends who are not white having to be picked up by a governmental organization without cause, picked up, injured, or killed, you know, deported. I just never thought you'd have to think about how do we make sure that, you know, my friends are safe. Um, this is, and I've had multiple conversations with multiple people, like, how do we make sure you're safe? Like, what happens? What do I need to do if something does happen to you? And this should not be happening. This should not be happening. The chaos that's going on is unnecessary and it's upsetting.
Yeah. Often life changing and tr- traumatic, devastating for the people detained, the people murdered, also in broad daylight by ICE with, again, barely a slap on the wrist, if that. I mean, what's happening now is just so absolutely. inhumane. I have no other word to describe. It's sick. So I think what you're saying though is like having that, really having an intersectional lens. Like there's so many aspects to feminism. Essentially, it's like, okay, there's, we're all women, but that minimizes the experiences of women who were not born assigned female at birth, or yeah, women that are Latina, Black, Asian, etc. Those are different lived experiences. And when you compile all of these different identities on top, we all are living a unique experience. We have a shared experience being oppressed as women in certain cases, but what that feels like, what that looks like, what our rights are, how we can exist in the world is different. And that is why it's so important to listen and educate yourself about what that looks like. And like you said, how you can help those that may have less agency in the world than yourself. So,
Yeah. Yeah, I remember a long time ago. I mean, it had to have been 12 years ago. Um, I worked with a Mexican man who told me it's important that you vote because they don't care about people like me. And I remember thinking, they don't care about me either. Like, they don't care about my vote. My vote doesn't matter. Even though I still think it's important to, exercise your right to vote. But I remember having that thought of, they don't they don't care about me. But in reality, if other people perceive you to matter, I think it's important to make sure you take action and you stand up for it and you vote for their rights, including your own. So, and I also read this quote too. I mean, it was something brief, but it just said like perspective matters. And I can't, there's not a lived experience that I could have that's going to reflect your perspective. That's why it's important to listen and care. So
mm-hmm.
if we could just preach that to the world and make other people care, that'd be great. Because I don't see, I mean, I do, there, the World Cup, right? We talked about that. You do see people that care about others. It does exist, but it's just sometimes so hard to find, even though it's there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, now that we've had this really great conversation about what's been going on currently with our politics, because listen, I think in our first episode, we even said, like, when we get going and heated about something, we're going to talk about it. And that's the truth. We wanted to talk about also kind of change gears and talk about books, literature specifically, because we are both massive readers. I think Nikki's a bigger reader than I am. I'm kind of a vibe reader, which you had introduced me to that term. But we both love reading and thought we would share some news on some books.
Yeah. Well, I primarily read romance because there's too much going on in the world for me to want to escape into a world that also sucks. So, very few times do I want to read something outside of something that's just going to bring joy. So, I did read the Windy City series by Liz Tomford. I think there's 6 books in total. It could be 5. But I saw that it recently got picked up by Amazon to do a TV series, which is going to be, I think, fantastic because one, her books have a lot of representation in them. Um, and it is all sports related, but there's multiple sports involved in this series, so that'll be a fun thing. And I just think it could be a good time. Recently, the Off Campus series was released on Amazon, and while I enjoyed it, and I did like the books a lot, actually, I've read that series twice, so I really did enjoy the books. I I thought the adaptation was like it was good, not as good as Heated Rivalry, but you know,
Yeah, nothing can
can't really
top
beat
that.
that. Yeah. But anyway, they still did a good job, so it's making me excited for Amazon to do the Windy City series too. Currently, there's no release date. This was just announced, so we're probably like 2 years out, I would guess, at this point. But the casting for that should be hopefully good. Yeah, I'm
That'll
excited.
be. I was going to say that'll be really interesting. Amazon is such a fascinating. I mean, first off, fuck Jeff Bezos, but Amazon is really fascinating company when it comes to what they're producing as far as shows go or in movies, because they, of course, did the Rings of Power, which is based on the world by, the Lord of the Rings world by J.R.R. Tolkien. And I think it was the most expensive like show on earth basically, and it's just okay. And I'm probably going to get hate for it, but I like am a massive lover of Lord of the Rings, and I was just kind of disappointed. It's like all this money for some reason, like it looks beautiful, but I don't know, I just like I wanted to love it more than I did. So I'm curious how they're going to handle, maybe they're better at handling stories that have less of a history with less of a fan base, because I think I've become one of those people who are like unforgiving of like certain things, which is silly because I usually love the artistic liberties that happen when you take something from book and translate it to film, because not everything on a page can be shown minute by minute in a show.
They did on Heated Rivalry, though. They showed it for sure.
Yeah,
so it can be done. It can be done.
And you know what? That's so real, because they had such a small budget and they said, we got this. So,
yeah, they showed
wow.
Amazon what they could do with the money they have.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. You're so right.
I heard the same thing about the show you're talking about, that it had this massive budget. I'm not a I shouldn't say I'm not a fan. I just haven't gone into it yet. I think I could be a fan. I've seen the first half of the first movie so many times, but I just think I must have ADHD or something. I literally cannot commit. But so that's my own problem. But anyway, I've heard many people that have seen it have said it was underwhelming. And I do feel that way about a lot of Amazon, what do you call it? Adaptations.
Like adaptation.
So, yeah, their version of it. But regardless, we got to give it a shot.
Oh, yeah. So. And I think probably they saw the massive success that Heated Rivalry had for like a sports-based romance. And maybe they're like, we're going to take a shot at this. So it remains to be seen. And we'll talk about it if the podcast is still going in 2 years.
Well, there's a lot of books out there that they could, start recreating and adapting. And I'm sure they'll find a way to ruin it. Honest to God, I'm sure they will find a way to ruin it. But I will still digest it and see.
Yeah. So. Maybe it'll be at the very least entertaining. So
at the very least. And honestly, like off campus, it wasn't bad. I wouldn't say it was bad by any means. So it was entertaining. I would watch it, and I'm going to watch the second season and the third and fourth, however many they have. There's 4 books in that series. And then there's a second series that follows like the next year's guys. And then after that, they have a series that jumps further in time, where the people in the first book are having kids and their kids are in college with each other because they've all grown up together. And then it's like them living their lives. So it's second generation, I guess. So we got a whole family tree going on. But anyway, so if there's, I don't know how many seasons there's going to be. I don't know how far they'll take this. I'll watch it all. But, do I think it should win awards? I don't know about that. So...
You know what upsets me about everything you just said? I mean, in the whole collection of those different series, how many books are there, do you think?
I think there's probably a total of 12 books. Okay. Or slated to be 12, maybe more.
Okay. I think I'm just fussing because there's certain authors that I've been waiting for them to release another book for a while. And then we have people creating multi-generational series. So that's cool.
And honestly, and it's taking them like 4 years to do it all. So,
Oh my gosh. Were they like a fanfic writer beforehand? I feel like fanfic writers just can pump them out.
Oh, probably. I'll need to research. I don't know how, when the author is Elle Kennedy, I don't know how long ago she actually started writing it, but I would say no earlier than 2019 at minimum. So
wow. Yeah. That's incredible.
It is. Yeah.
Well,
No, you go
Oh,
ahead.
sorry. I did not mean to cut you off. Do you want
You're
to?
good. Oh, no,
Okay.
you're good.
Yeah, in other book news, talk about a book series I feel hot and cold on, and that's Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros. The first book, loved it to pieces. Guess it's under the romantasy genre, and if you're a Lord of the Rings fan, you might enjoy it because there's dragons. But the other books in the series, for me, just like kind of kept going downhill. However, I'm going to stick it through, and when the next book comes out, I will be reading it, and it's also going to be adapted into a show. And there's been like some fan theories about, I guess someone might have found the casting call, and it was like all secretive, and they were using the names of characters that were obviously aliases, but it seems like there's potential here. And also, just recently, I guess there's been clues potentially that have been released by Rebecca that might point to some big news coming out in a couple days, July 15th. So maybe it might be happening. I've seen,
Casting.
yeah, they, one of the things is people saw that Rebecca and others, like actors rather, changed their profile pictures to all black and white, and they're like, oh, these must be the actors for the show. Is it? I don't know. Is it a coincidence? Also, how do people have time to do this type of research? I don't know, but I love him for it because, I just have to read a Reddit post and get caught
Yeah,
up.
I was gonna say I guarantee you they're Reddit moderators, and yeah, they're chronically online and have a lot of time. No offense.
I mean, I wish I did. It literally just
Yeah.
reminded me of the sleep token, like all of the clues and the Easter eggs, and like people were like really good at cracking the code on those things. And I was just like, you need to tell me what this is so I can check it out after work.
I could be unemployed and never figure out those clues. I am not good at it. Don't make me crack a cipher and then have to go to Google Maps to find a location and probably have to get the longitude and latitude. No, give me a pre-sale code in my email so when I go to buy tickets, I can pop it in and it's fine. Like, I can't
So
do
real.
it.
That is so real. It As you were talking about it, it made me think of maybe the band is like a big fan of the Da Vinci Code because they're like doing ciphers and running all
Oh
around.
my god, National Treasure with Nick Cage.
Yeah, literally. Oh man, I mean, listen, if you're part of a big band like that, you can do whatever you want, and
Mm-hmm.
Vessel does, and
He
we love him
does.
for it.
Yeah, I'll still buy tickets without a pre-sale code, so they know we don't care.
True.
So
We've
yeah,
spent so much money trying to see them. My
yeah.
God.
And stress of ticket buying. I mean, how long have
Oh,
I been in the queues, like refreshing, like, oh my god, I finally got in. I cannot believe we got tickets to Red Rock still because that was my first time buying tickets ever.
I
Actually, that's not true. I tried to buy tickets to NSYNC a long time ago with my mom. I was like 7 years old, and we were waiting outside of a Hy-Vee or Hen House. I can't remember, one of the grocery stores in town, and they had a ticket booth they used to buy tickets at. And we were waiting in line for a long time, and they sold out when we were like 2 or 3 people away. So that was my first
that would be
ticket buying
devastating.
experience. I know.
Like
And
that's.
then, oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, like that's like the in real life of being in a queue online. Like you were there. You were in the trenches.
I was in the trenches with no food or water, mind you. And I'm 7. My mom had recently bought me the CD, or actually, no, she bought me the CD after the fact to like make it hurt less. So I was appreciative of that. You know, growing up with a single mom, you can't ask for much. So
Mm-hmm.
that was a lot. Um, the other devastating thing was, and it was just circumstantial. The boy that I kind of had a crush on at that age was standing in line ahead of us, and his dad started talking to my mom. They're like, "Oh, well, maybe we can just all go together, get seats together." Did that happen?
Nikki,
No, it didn't.
traumatizing.
Yeah,
Oh my God, that could have been like such a cute little date that you guys had. I mean, at 7, just be wow,
yeah,
life changing,
life
and
changing. So I basically just walked right on over to being like the ultimate Backstreet Boys fan because they would never hurt me that way. And
That's true.
until Nick Carter, recently we've learned about his behavior. So that was also devastating. But, here we are.
I literally just came across this TikTok that it was like, whichever Backstreet Boy that you really loved growing up says a lot about you and your dating history. Shockingly, I never had a favorite. I enjoyed all of it. So I didn't watch the rest of it, but I'm certain it would be telling. So maybe take a peek.
Take a peek.
Speaking of music, though, tonight, Nikki and I, as of this recording, we are going to see Evanescence talk about another throwback from childhood. I remember laying on the ground in my bedroom with my little portable CD player, like playing her first album over and over and over again and just being super emo. Not much has changed, but it's going to be so exciting to see her headline. She's also going to be there with Spirit Box as well as Nova Twins, right? Which we've seen Spirit Box and Evanescence previously. They both put on incredible shows. This will be the first time seeing Nova Twins. I'm excited to see them as well. It's like, it's an all female show, which is, I think, the first that we've seen together where every artist are women. So I'm excited. The last time I had that experience was at Lilith Fest, which was, if you know, you know. It was really, really cool. My mom took me, and the headliner was Heart. And there's just all these booths of like different like tampon brands and like pads and like it was definitely like what you would consider like a feminist. Only women basically were there. It was really cool though. So I think the spirit of that might live on with this show tonight. So I'm very excited.
I'm hoping so. I mean, I listened to Evanescence, My Immortal, the other day, and I was literally crying, which I've never had that experience before. And I know I've been going through a lot myself, which, brings me to tears more than I like. So I think I'm just maybe emotional, but I fully expect to have an out of body experience tonight. Um, and I also don't know if I'm allowed to say this on the internet, but I am ready to have a bisexual awakening again, seeing Courtney and Spirit Box, because my God, is she incredible. Um, she's just something you have to experience at some point in your life. Um, I'm pumped for it.
Yeah, no, she's incredible in all ways. And so is Amy Lee. God, her vocals were insane when we saw her at Louder Than Life. I was just like stunned at even through her career, it seems like her voice keeps getting better and better. And she already had an incredible voice. So it's going to be good.
Yeah.
And they have a new album that just came out. So I'm certain we'll hear a lot of older hits as well as stuff from the new album, which will be really good. In fact, there's like a
Yeah.
lot of new album movement happening recently.
Yes. Yeah. There's been a few. Do you have a favorite?
I do. So for the year, at least so far, my favorite album is going to be Sache 6, which, by the way, I had to figure out how to pronounce that. Brutalist. I cannot stop listening to it. I even have the CD in my car, and it's basically on repeat. It's so incredible. His vocals, both of their vocals, it's just a 3-person band, and their sound is massive, and their vocals are just as good live as they are on the CD. I recommend everyone check them out. If you are a fan of Bad Omens, Sleep Token, any of these bands that we talk about, you will love them. I'm curious.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite? Have you thought about it?
I have. I do love Sache 6. I've been listening to more of the new album because I do like some of their older stuff too. Not that it's old, but pre this album.
Yeah.
But yeah, the new album is also good. But my favorite this year, I really have two. It's hard to pick from. But my favorite, I believe, is Holy Water. And the album is titled Dio Gratias. And I just think it's a no skip. And everything sounds different too from one another, which I think is a really hard feat when you have 10 plus albums or tracks on an album. And I just think they're getting better and better. And I'm kind of excited to see where they go, but we need to see them live. We tried to once, didn't work out too well, but
And
we
that's
need to
my
do it
bad.
again. No, they came on early. They were not supposed to be on that early. That's on them. And well, really, not them specifically, but the venue. We'll just blame it on the
Yeah,
venue.
I will blame the venue. That was so devastating. We still got to see two of their songs.
Yeah,
And he did come out, the lead singer, Patrick, right? That's his name?
I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah, he did come out to the crowd, like in the pit. And like, that was actually a pretty cool experience. And we do have a picture of it, of us with him. Maybe we'll put it on screen.
Yeah.
He
It's
seems
a cute
so
one.
over it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he
he looks
was
cute. He was over
yeah,
it.
he was like, who, like, I'm just so tired of women. I think that's what he was. I think that's what he was thinking.
Yeah.
But really, we're not, we're doing this for us. Like, we want to have these pictures to look back on when we're 80. And, like, when we're in the nursing home, we want to show people how cool we used to be.
Yeah.
Will
Granny
they
can get
be?
down.
Yeah. Who knows if they'll be interested?
You said that there was a second album that you were kind
Mhm.
of also in the running. Which one was that?
Yeah, Bill Murray, their album titled Kinda Hard, excuse me. Uh, Also great. Anything Bill Murray puts out just hits. And seen them live many times. They're incredible live, so much energy. Um, it's good stuff. And also, too, we grew up in a small community, country community, and Bill Murray hits the vibe of, you have rock and kind of metal, but you also have this country twang in it. So there's something that's so familiar to me that I very much enjoy. It's like what country music would be if that's what I wanted. Like if what I envisioned country music, that's what I envision it to be. So um, it's also really great. And when they're live, they have a saxophonist named Gabby, and it just makes the experience that much better. She's incredible. So much fun to watch. Also, her vocals are insane. So good. So good.
Those are really, really good contenders. Actually, I one of their new songs from their album, Bill Murray's new songs from their album, came on my Spotify like shuffle, and I was like, gosh, I just forgot how damn good they are. Like you said, they've got that like country twang that's like kind of surprising for a band that was like having screaming vocals not that long ago. So
Yeah.
I love that they've found like this kind of niche sound for themselves that people really love and are enjoying. So, I mean, that's what makes it fun, I think.
I think so too. And the other thing, so the first time I saw Bill Murray live, the lead singer, Johnny Frank, I believe is how you pronounce his last name. He was mentioning how he started the band when he was at a really low point and he was suicidal. And when you listen to their older music, that's really reflected in their sound. And
Mm-hmm.
so when you listen to, I mean, they have a lot of albums out, but when you listen to their sound over time, it's like you can see his mental health journey, like he's in a much better place, is what it seems like. And the music is it's so fun, and but it's also relatable in that way too.
Yeah,
He said that starting this band is what saved his life, and it's cool to be a part of that journey, I think.
it is
um
cool.
yeah, they're good stuff. And then I also would like to do maybe like a, if you could think of, because there's been a lot of singles released, not albums but
Mm.
singles, is there one that sticks out for you this year? I
I
know I
mean,
have a few, but
I know, immediately thinking of Bad Omens, like
yeah.
1000%. And then I'm a little upset because I think they said that they're not actually releasing a full album.
Mm-mm.
It's just those singles. So could I pick one from those? Oh, do you have one?
I do.
Okay.
um while I think Spectre is a really beautiful song and
Mm-hmm.
it's hard to beat, I think my favorite is Left for Good, because the
Mm.
breakdown is so good and it's really cathartic for me.
It is. God, that is a good one. I think. Shoot, I don't know if I can pick. Man, I'm really on the spot on this. Let me
Mm.
just like look at my Spotify real fast and think about it.
Yeah, while
I'm
you're
gonna,
looking, I know we touched
yes.
base on Dehumanize last episode with Bring Me the Horizon. That's also
Hmm.
really good.
Hmm.
Um, I'm trying to think of like other singles. There's been actually quite a few bands that are just dropping
Yeah.
singles out of nowhere.
Okay, I've got mine for Bad Omens. It's gonna be, I think it's Dying to Love for me. I
Mm,
think I love that one. It's so sweet and painfully accurate.
yeah. It's also kind of got old school, like early 2000s vibes. Like it makes
Hmm.
me think of Breaking Benjamin
Yeah.
a little bit. Yeah.
Hmm. Who else just released oh, The Plot, and you just released an album, but it's like
Hmm.
I haven't listened to it yet or checked it out, but I feel like I read that it's not all new stuff, that there
Hmm.
is some of their previous singles on it, right?
Hmm.
And then there's another album coming out soon. Oh my gosh, in a couple days. Motionless
Hmm.
in White. I'm kind of
Yeah.
excited for that
Which
too.
that reminds me, they also had a single drop earlier this year, which is probably going to be a part of this album.
Yeah,
And I'm blanking on the name of that song, but it is so good.
it
It
is
is
really
so,
good.
so good. And it was great live when we saw them.
What was it?
Yeah, this is going to bother me.
I know. Decades. I'm going to their album. I'm going to go ahead
Hmm.
and pre-save.
Yeah, do it.
Oh, they've had 3 singles released, I guess. Playing
Oh,
God, featuring Corey Taylor, which I did see him talk about how cool it was to get Corey Taylor on the album with him because he's a legend. And
yeah.
the other one is Afraid of the Dark, and then R.I.P. featuring Skylar Grey.
Okay.
Which one
So
was it that we saw?
Afraid of the Dark is what I'm talking about. And that's the one
Okay.
I like. That was the name I had in my head, but I was like, no, I think that's an older song, like an older song title, and I'm getting it mixed up. But no,
Yeah.
Afraid of the Dark is so good. And I've heard good things about what, RIP, you
Yeah.
said? Yeah, I've
Hmm.
heard good things about that. I need to listen to. I was kind of waiting for the whole album to drop, and then I can just do a, hour long listen.
Yeah.
Yeah, good
I
stuff.
know. Maybe we should review it because I
Yeah.
think it'll be probably pretty good. Because they're a band that has like really grown on me over time. I think,
I
and
would
they
say
put
they're
on a
kind of
fun
hit or
show.
miss sometimes. Like some stuff I'm like, not really a fan of, but
Hmm.
yeah, I think just lately all the stuff that they're putting out now seems pretty good. So,
I
and yeah, seeing
know.
them live helped because I thought they had such a good stage presence, and you just can't help but love them too. So that was a which I think that's honestly, seeing music live is so important for that reason, because I can't tell you how many people have had that experience where they're like, oh, this band's all right, and then they go and see them live and they have similar to like an out of body experience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you only want to continue seeing them live. Like
Yeah.
that's exactly how I feel about Sleep Theory. I mean, their music is great and I love them, but seeing them, oh my God, they are just transformative on stage and so fun to watch. We're going to see them again this fall, and it'll be like the 3rd time we've seen them, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll keep seeing them because they're that
Yeah.
fun.
Well, listen, when we went to see them that first time and they did the Bye 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 cover, I'm telling you that healed something in my soul, because I said I finally got to see what it would have been like to see NSYNC live, but they
Oh,
did it better. I guarantee
they
you
did.
they did it better. And they also released a cover of Cruel Summer by Taylor Swift recently that was
Ooh.
also really good, because despite the fact I'm not a Taylor Swift fan, I do like Cruel Summer. So I was pretty pumped about that. Um, so you'll have to give that a listen later.
Okay, I
But
will.
so excited to see them.
Me
So
too.
excited.
Who
And
else
if
do we
we're,
have coming up? Is it
well,
just them
we,
after this show?
yeah. But we have the opportunity to see Bill Murray, Holy Water, Breaking Benjamin, potentially, all in the same week if we really wanted to
Yeah,
hit it
boom,
back to
boom,
back to
boom.
back. Yeah. I don't
Oh
know
my
if our,
God.
well, I say that. I'm like, I don't know if our ears could handle that, but we did a 4-day music festival, so I'm pretty positive we could come out unscathed.
And we did Nine Inch Nails back to back to Bad Omens, and
Hmm.
we somehow, I mean, that one was rough, though. What a drive. But
Yeah. It
it was
makes
so
me
great.
think of Michael Scott's book, Somehow I Manage.
That
Yeah.
literally could have been the title to our podcast, I think.
Yes. And then you just like quote Michael Scott, Wayne Gretzky, you know how you do that.
Yeah, exactly. Lana, Nikki.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Well,
we'll put that in the reservoir or put that on the back end in case we need that for later.
Yeah, in case we get like a cease and desist.
Yeah.
We'll just start over. They can't keep us down.
No.
But dang, this has been like a really great conversation. I'm glad that we could get up to speed with everything that's kind of going on, not only politically, but literature and music. And I hope you all enjoyed this show, episode 2 of Noise Complaint. Definitely like and subscribe.
Yeah,
that's what you're
smash that like button.
Yeah, smash it. Oh my God. All right. Well, I think that's it for us. And we look forward to chatting again next time.
Okay, bye.
Bye.